Hello, Paul Elam here, coming to you again from the Happy Misogynist. I usually try to tone down the rhetoric in my work, but today I am in a bit of a mood for a rant. I've been an MRA for nearly 20 years. Recently I've been most pleased with the emerging voices of men and women who have had enough of feminism, especially here on the internet and in particular places like YouTube. It's refreshing and gratifying to see each and every lie the feminists have promulgated for 40 years thrown right back in their faces. But I have to say now that it's time to stop. You see, feminists are like hemorrhoids, and the truth is like a very effective tube of preparation H. Every time I see these women and more than a few men get a good dose, they sure enough shrink up out of sight. And they can get away with doing that. After all, the feminist hegemony in academia, the law, the media, and public opinion is all but complete. They don't even need to fairly defend their ideas anymore. So now, the real problem we have isn't feminists, it's men. I'm not talking about MRAs, but about Joe Average next door. And so today I'm here to do some male bashing of my own. And men have that coming to them now far more than feminists do. I'm not here to reinforce the stupid ideas about men that feminists have spread for so long, but I am here to point out the stupid actions of men that feminists have counted on so they could keep grabbing more power. We have had a gender war, guys, and you largely haven't even shown up. While men, and by that I mean you, your brothers, fathers, sons, and friends, get bent over and raped in openly rigged family courts, you look the other way. While your sons get marginalized and fall behind in ever more female-centered school systems, you have pretty much reacted by making sure the TiVo is set to get the next ball game. While the media has portrayed you as one-dimensional idiots and sitcoms show you as bumbling fools who couldn't tie your own shoes without your wife's supervision, you have validated that idiotic treatment by tolerating it. You have taken to reading shit magazines like Men's Health so you can learn how to have six-pack abs and attract a shallow, morally vacant princess that will revel in your obsequious, servile manner just so you can get laid. And 5 years from now, when that loser you married robbed you of your children, your income, your property, and your dignity, your best friend will console you with something as profound as, "Dude, that really sucks. Want a beer?" It will happen to more than half of you that get married, but you are too stupidly absorbed in your own meaningless bullshit to figure it out. And you will raise your sons to be set up for the same exact crap. It's enough to make someone say, "Wake the fuck up." And you know, that may be the wrong thing to say. Most of you aren't asleep, you're in goddamn comas. You're anesthetized by thoughtless existence and by one of the few things feminists have said about you that happens to be true. You think with your dick. And you know, though you likely won't admit it, when you think with your dick, the first thing it does is take your balls and your spine out of the equation. And that is how most of you live, in a penis-dictated servitude, trained seals, fearful of saying or doing anything that might cause Princess to get upset with you, or that, God forbid, might keep you from getting laid. Personally, I've seen enough of this crap from men to last me a lifetime. There are men out here right now fighting an uphill battle you can't imagine just to give you a fair shot at justice when the wife calls into state to dissolve your marriage and your assets. You don't owe them or me anything, but you might if you can pull your head out of your ass for 5 minutes. Think about what you owe your sons. Many of you who have already been destroyed by family courts are still raising your daughters to be overly entitled little princesses and your sons to be the mules that will carry the weight for them through life, only to be discarded when they're used up. And you are still more interested in a big screen TV than in the big picture. It's fucking pathetic. This chosen ignorance is fatal. Men die more frequently of all the top killer diseases than women, though women get the lion's share of gender-specific medical research money. Women outlive men by 7 years. And though they have had a national office for women's health for decades, we are just now hearing the first inklings that we will have one for men. Maybe you don't give a shit if you die of heart disease or prostate cancer before you're 60. But if you have a son, at least give him the honesty to turn to him and tell him you don't give a shit if he does either. I imagine that than a few of you won't like much what I have to say. You'll just have to imagine my concern about that. But if it upsets you, it won't last. All you need is 15 minutes of acting like a chump for the nearest feminist who will gladly pat you on the head and tell you that you're a good boy, and you will feel right as rain. But if you're so upset that you want to do something about it, then I have a suggestion. Instead of buying those tickets to the ball game or that next 12-pack, send the money to a father's rights organization that is doing what you don't have the nerve to. Or how about this? The next time you hear a woman take a stupid, bigoted shot at men, say something about it. And this time, don't say something agreeable just so you can score points with them. But if you can't manage any of that, please just keep your mouth shut. You ought to be good at that by now. You've been doing it for women for years. There are men out here trying to do for you and your sons what you won't. There are already enough obstacles in the way. The last thing we need is the ignorant fuck-knuckles who are being helped to shoot us down. Like I said, feminists are not the real problem anymore. They launched a gender war, and men, rather than fight back, just blindly followed out of fear and out of biological programming. What else can we call it but blindness, when men have all this injustice going on all around them and they react in a thunderous collective voice saying, "How about them cowboys?"